The Preakness is Saturday, May 17th, and the best way to bet is with First Bet. Sign up today with promo code RADIO250 to receive a $250 new customer bonus. You'll unlock a $25 wagering credit for every $100 you bet in your first 60 days, up to a max bonus of $250. That way, no matter who you pick to win the Preakness, your best bet is on First Bet. Head over to firstbet.com to get started, and remember to use promo code RADIO250 to claim your sign-up bonus.
ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track. And ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
Welcome to Speak. I'm Jordan Taylor, joined by two legends, Super Bowl champion Keyshawn Johnson and NBA Finals MVP Paul Pierce. What's up, guys?
Hey.
It's a little bit of a, a downer to start the show today.
A little bit. You know, I let Paul off the hook, you know what I'm saying, because I feel bad about the whole situation.
Yeah, well, let's get into it. It was a really tough night for Celtics fans who watched Boston lose Game 4 to the Knicks. But they also lose superstar Jason Tatum for the season. The Celtics confirmed Tatum tore his right Achilles tendon and had successful surgery today to repair it. Tatum scored 42 points before the injury. So that's very, very tough to watch. What a lot of us obviously assumed was the case based on how he reacted. But from the perspective of a Celtics legend, Paul, what was your reaction to Tatum's injury last night?
Man, my initial reaction was like, it felt like the air came out of my house. It looked like the air came out of the building. It really looked like, from the reaction on his face, and you can see, you know, when a player is hurt and it's bad. And I saw the look I saw on his face. And then I was just like, man, this ain't good. Because he was putting together a game that we was going to be talking about for a long time. You know, he was on his way to 50 points, carrying the Celtics. But up until that, you just see right there when he grabbed it. And then, you know, usually I was looking for him to step on somebody's foot. And, you know, why he grabbed his ankle. And we found out today what confirmed to be an Achilles tear. That was going through my mind. That's what it looked like. And when I saw him walk out with not putting any pressure on it, he was getting carried, and then he got the wheelchair, I knew it was bad. And I just feel bad for Jason and the Boston Celtics, because you hate to lose your star and you hate to lose him to an injury like the one we heard of that came out today. And so my heart goes out to his family, the organization. You just hate to see it from the young stars. And you know, hopefully this is something he can bounce back from. I don't know the process on this, but, you know, we've seen in recent cases guys like Kevin Durant. You know, we even saw Kobe come back at an older age from this injury and still be great. And so I just hope for a great return. And, you know, for the Boston Celtics, who are playing in the playoffs, to continue to fight. It is not over. It is not over. And I just want them to know that.
You know, it obviously is terrible. But at first reaction, I really couldn't tell exactly what happened, because I turned my head to do something, but I could hear the announcer say something. And then when I finally turned back, they were showing the replay, and as soon as he pushed off and he went to grab for it, the first thing came to my mind was Achilles. Mm-hmm. I said, oh, damn, I think he just tore his Achilles. And you could see the pain. You know, when dude's pounding the ground and covering his face, he's in pain. It's just, you know, because it wasn't an ankle. Like Paul said, he was moving forward first, so nobody was near his legs, so to speak. It was more near his shoulders and his arms. And, you know, once you saw it, though, you realize, not only are the Celtics going to be in a certain situation without a guy that just dropped 42 points in 30-plus minutes, but also he was the heart and soul, in my opinion, of that particular team at a particular team at that moment in time. Now you start thinking about what's next.
Yeah. Like
you start thinking about how bad is it? What's the recovery time? Will he be the same a year and a half from now when he's able to come back and play? You just start thinking about all those things. And only thing you can really say is you hope for a speedy recovery, which I think in medicine now with these professional athletes, the doctors are ridiculous because you can just fly. You can go wherever you need to go with the top dudes that are specialists in Achilles and everything else to get it done. And you said that he had the surgery, I guess, earlier today or whatever the case is. So that tells you right then and there they're not wasting any time in getting the thing done because typically, they usually wait a day or two for swelling to go down and all those sort of things. So they got it out the way so he can start the rehab process and get ready for next season if there's a next season for him.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. Obviously, your heart breaks for him anytime you see an athlete have an injury like this. The immediate fear and trauma, you can see it's entering their body because they know what's ahead. Forget the surgery part. I think we've all had surgery. So, the surgery is a day and you're out of it for a day. The real hard part is the recovery, is the rehab, is the drawn out process of being able to trust your body again, both mentally and you have to get back into a place where you're 100%, but you have to know that you're 100%. It's an exhausting experience, and especially for an Achilles injury that can take on the longer end to recover. So obviously we were all hoping that's not what it was, but that's what it is. And unfortunately, these are the kinds of injuries that can change the course of organizations. I mean, if it takes a year, if we're thinking about a year from now, you may expect him to miss all of next season and into the postseason, which is changing how they plan for next season as a team. And all of these things start to go through your head when you find out that that's what the injury is, outside of obviously feeling extremely awful for him and what he's going through emotionally. And you want to see the best go against the best. So anytime you have an injury to someone as important to the league as Jason Tatum, this is a huge loss, not just for the Boston Celtics, but the Knicks want to beat the Celtics as a whole. They want to leave this series saying, no, we beat the Celtics in their full strength and everyone was available and that's how you walk away from it. And sometimes, that you don't get these opportunities in sports, but, to say it's going to shift this series is an understatement. I know you feel like it's not over, but they are down 3-1 and, Boston may have had a shot when he was playing last night, having an unbelievable game, 42 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. He's tied the Celtics for the most 40-point playoff games in Celtics history. So he's having an incredible game. They're still in it at the end of it. And now, things have changed. But it really sucks just for everyone and NBA fans. Because like I said, when it comes to the playoffs, you want to see the best against the best.
Yeah, it's just, another thing that's running through my mind now, as we got the confirmation that it's official that he's torn the Achilles, had the surgery. Now, you want them to fight. Of course, there's a playoffs still going on, but my brain just started scrambling dang, if Jason has to mix all of next year, what does that mean as far as the team dynamic? Because we already started hearing rumors of it could be possibly some trades.
Right.
It could be unloading some salary because we understand that the Boston Celtics have one of the top salaries in all of basketball. Does that leave the window open as far as championships? Who's going to be on the trade flight? What are they going to do to cut costs? If that's something they're going to do. So you just start thinking about all these things, and these are the conversations that are going to come up if the Celtics don't win it all this year or advance in the playoffs versus the Knicks.
I wouldn't touch a thing. I would let it run its course next year. Don't rush him back. Let him come back in the middle of 2027. I don't care. I wouldn't rush a thing because they still got a team, a viable team, as it's constructed right now, to still compete in 2025, 26. That's what I believe. I believe they still got a team that could compete, and maybe you pick up 1 or 2 players along the way. But for the most part, I would not try to dismantle the team and start looking to save money and do all of those sort of things. Mm-hmm. Because when he is back, you're essentially going to be starting all over if you do that. If you start to get rid of big pieces, and when he comes back, he ain't got nothing. You got 1 or 2 players left. Why would you do that?
Well, they are still in the playoffs. The Celtics now trail in the series 3-1, heading back to Boston for Game 5 Wednesday night. So, Key, are you giving the Celtics any chance in this series without Tatum?
3-1 versus 2-2, 3-1 losing Tatum is a little demoralizing to me. It takes all the wind out of you. And you can kind of see once he got hurt that was what kind of affected the rest of the little bit of game that was left. You could just see it. It wasn't the same sort of feeling, Joy. And again, if it was a 2-1 or 2-2 situation, then I would certainly say they have a strong chance of evening the score and taking this thing all the way to Game 7. But it's going to be hard as hell. It's going to be hard to win 3 straight. It's just going to be hard.
Teams down 1-3 only have a 4.4% chance of coming back.
So there you go. That's virtually impossible. You know, and it's going to be on. Well, and it's going to be on their mind.
I just saw the Dallas Mavericks had a 1.8% chance of getting the number 1 pick, so it's not impossible.
No.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible. That is very true, Paul. However, they smell blood in the water. Okay.
The Knicks, yeah.
The Knicks, and they turned up the heat when Tatum left. They started playing like they was ready to just win a championship. It's all right, Paul.
Well, I mean, he left the game with 2:58 left in the game, and the Knicks were up 113-104.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wasn't giving them a chance to come back from down 3-1 with Tatum. It seems like the Knicks were.
I would have gave him a shot at 3-1. I'd have gave him a shot because all they had to, in my opinion, they could have just come back home. Won that game.
Listen, I saw that.
Go back to New York.
I mean, again,
the Red Sox
the
doing
Knicks,
against the Yankees.
The Knicks were up 113-104.
No,
I'm talking.
I know, but if they get back to Boston,
I think it's probably time we put a little respect on the Knicks.
No, we're not. I'm not saying no. I'm just saying you get back to Boston.
They would have a 4.4% chance of coming back. That's
yeah, but if you get back to Boston, you win that game. You go back to New York. You won in New York multiple times in the regular season. You won in New York in the playoffs. I would just give them a better shot with Tatum on the floor.
Well, Paul, obviously you're giving the Celtics a chance without Tatum, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have a winning record without Tatum.
They're 8-2.
I think they're 8-2.
They're 8-2. 1-0 in the playoffs. They have championship DNA in that locker room. They have leadership. They can take it one or two ways, and this is how I see it, because I'm trying to picture myself if I'm one of the players in the locker room and our best player went down. You can take it as demoralizing and feel bad for yourself, but some of us athletes are just cut different. We have fight in us. And I have to believe that these guys who have been champions, who've been to the mountaintop, have some type of fight in them and take some pride and say, hey, listen, don't feel sorry for ourselves now. This is time for the next man to step up because we are the champs, and don't forget that. And we're capable of going out here getting a win. Now, you got to take it. You don't have to look ahead. Right now, it's about Game 5. Let's get Game 5 in our building. We'll go back to New York and see what happens. So I give them a fighting chance for the simple fact they play well without Tatum. They're the defending champs, and I have to believe they have some sense of pride in that locker room with Coach Mazzulla, with guys like Drew Holiday and Derek White and Al Horford, the veterans in there, that they'll go out, swinging and fighting.
Well, I know we didn't prep this, but they are down 3-1. Mm-hmm. And, assuming that Jason Tatum played the rest of that game, the Knicks were still up 113-104.
Yes,
so let's just assume the Knicks won the game anyway.
Yep.
So they're down 3-1. What has been the issue with them in this series? Because we keep saying that, like, the Knicks stole one, and then the Knicks stole one, and they stole – but they're up 3. They can't steal 3. Like, they are up 3-1 on them. So what's been the issue?
It's, to me, just from the eye test, I think the Knicks are they're playing tougher. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They're pushing the Celtics around. They're out-rebounding them. They're doing all the dirty work plays, and it's adding up. By the time you get to the fourth quarter, all those plays are adding up when I see them get the offensive rebounds and take it to the basket, get and ones. And it's just all the little things are adding up for them, and it's showing. They're in the fight every time. Like, every time the Celtics, the Knicks shoot, I feel like they're going to get the offensive rebound as they terribly out-rebounded them by, I think 10 or 11 in the last game. They're probably out-rebounding them for the series. If I'm just looking from the eye test and not looking at the stats, it looks that way. Mm. And so it just comes down to just mental resolve. This is like nothing you can game plan. This is not like, guys, well, we're going to go lift some weights and get tougher, or we're going to go run this hill. No, this is like, this has to come from every individual. And that's it.
Well, the Knicks won the game last night and took control of the series. Jalen Brunson scored 39 points and was one of 4 Knicks to score 20-plus in the game. New York is now the betting favorite to win the Eastern Conference over the Pacers, who lead their series 3-1 as well. So, Keith, should the Knicks be the favorites in the East?
Yeah, I think so. I think they should be the favorite because when you look at it, Indy's taking care of a Cleveland team that we probably overvalued, all right? And then we kind of a little bit undervalued Indy to a degree. And when you look at the way the Knicks have played against Boston, which we all will agree, even though Boston was not the number one seed in the East, they were probably, felt like at the start of this whole thing, they were coming out of the East, period, no matter what Cleveland was able to do. And the Knicks are just rolling. Nobody can stop Jalen Brunson. They just rolling. It's Nickville, and the garden is cracking. Everybody in the house, and it's a crowd of just not only celebrities, but passionate Knicks fans.
So you think the Pacers are going to get intimidated going into the Garden?
100%. Indy versus New York, it ain't. Come on, man. They're not used to that.
That's a rivalry, Key, and I really don't see how the Knicks are the favorite versus Indiana.
But they the favorite. But they the favorite. The odds makers, and that odd stuff has a lot to do with what the money is coming in and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
but they the odds makers.
You got more delusional New York fans than anybody else. Of course, more money is going to get put on them. Of course, that's a given.
But the odds makers got them winning the East, though.
Yeah, of course.
So you think Indy should be favored?
I do think Indy should be favored. I think they're deep. They're well coached. The offense is tough to stop, by the way. And they beat the Knicks last year. And I know the Knicks were banged up. They didn't have a couple of their key guys. But I think Indiana were missing some key guys.
But it's a little bit of a different Knicks team than a year ago, too, because Towns wasn't there, right?
Towns wasn't there.
My man that came over from Brooklyn, Bridges wasn't there.
Bridges wasn't there, no.
So it's a little bit of a different team.
I tend to lean towards Paul on this, but I think that it's because I feel like they're favored because the Knicks took down the Celtics and the Pacers are taking down the Cavs, so they're looking at it as a tougher opponent.
And they'll have
but
home,
it seems it's like speed versus physicality.
I think the Knicks will have home court advantage too if they see each other, right?
Yes.
I also think this will be an incredibly close series and will absolutely go to 7.
That may be true.
I think it'll be a very long series and be very close.
But that wasn't your question. Your question wasn't close.
I'm leaning towards the Pacers as well.
I think that the Pacers are a little more unpredictable. You know what I'm saying? Like the Knicks, I know who the guys are, and they have a lot of them. But like with Indiana, yes, Halliburton he's their star. But he's a different type of star. He's a star that kind of gets the guys involved and then makes some shots here and there. But they got a number of guys that can pick up the slack offensively that you're like, you got Siakam, Nesmith. You got so many utility guys is what I'm saying. Nembhard and them guys. And all of them guys can give you 15 to 20 points on any given night. Guys are...
The Knicks
I say the Knicks can do it the same way.
I think it's just going to be really close series.
It's going to be a close series. They're a lot deeper. I mean, when I look at the benches, they have a lot. They can go 10 deep. The Knicks have 6 players in my eyes. And if their series goes to 6 or 7, I can see them wearing down to Indiana's depth. And being that Indiana beat them last year in the playoffs, I don't see how the Knicks are favorite if they both advance.
I should go there and be like a fake Knicks fan with a Knicks hat on and act like I'm
no one will recognize you in New York.
Yeah, fake Knicks hat on like I've been a Knicks fan the whole time. I've been rooting for them the whole way.
Coming up, it's an exciting time to be a Mavericks fan again. We'll give your thoughts on the Dallas Mavericks winning the NBA draft lottery last night. That's next on Speak. And don't forget, you can check us out every day on the Fox Sports channel on Sirius XM.
They're going crazy.
Nico, you sound...
The Preakness is Saturday, May 17th, and the best way to bet is with FirstBet. Sign up today with promo code Radio250 to receive a $250 new customer bonus. You'll unlock a $25 wagering credit for every $100 you bet in your first 60 days, up to a max bonus of $250. That way, no matter who you pick to win the Preakness, your best bet is on FirstBet. Head over to firstbet.com to get started, and remember to use promo code Radio250 to claim your sign-up bonus.
Time to check in on our social life. LeBron James reacted to the Mavs getting the first pick in the 2025 NBA draft with 9 crying, laughing emojis.
Man, look how fast Nico jumped up right there. He ain't jumped up so fast.
No one is having a better day.
Man,
No one was having a better day. What was your immediate reaction to Dallas winning the lottery?
It was rigged. I'm just saying, wasn't that all our immediate?
We are.
Yeah.
We're doing a serious show.
But I don't think it can't be rigged, right?
I know it's not rigged. That's my immediate reaction. Like, man, hold on. What? How they lost Luka and got #1 pick? 1% chance? Come on, man. What's going on?
1.8.
I bet you that cost a lot of money. That cost a lot of money. That was like $300 million under the table.
It felt like, okay, we gonna do you a good right now, right?
We're gonna do you a good.
Stop! We're being serious.
No, I'm serious. That's what it felt like. Because in the past they've said that they've said that the lottery was rigged in the past, though. That was just the rumor mill out there. Now I don't know.
That's just,
I'm just saying.
You drink raw milk too? The earth is flat?
No. But Nico was happy.
Y'all know that the WNBA got the #1 pick, Dallas too. Paige.
Yeah.
Dallas is
They trying to bring it back.
They got Dallas popping right now.
And they just traded for
Pickens. Dallas is popping right now.
Nico was happy though.
No.
Nico for sure was like. But I wonder what LeBron. I wonder what LeBron meant by the sending out the smiling, laughing emojis. Like, what did he?
Because it's funny. It's insane. Like, they had a 1.8% chance of winning.
But
the
is he
draft
laughing
lottery.
at that, or does he think like me and Paul
got
thinking?
absolutely dragged for trading Luka, and now they have the #1 pick in the draft with 1.8% odds of getting it. It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's really crazy.
Good luck with that pick.
Well,
that's a no-brainer.
Well, let's talk about it. Nico Harrison received death threats after trading Luka Doncic this season, and the Mavs missed the playoffs. Obviously, things changed last night. Dallas won the NBA draft lottery, securing the #1 overall pick, despite having a 1.8% chance of landing the pick. Cooper Flagg is the projected top pick. So what should the Dallas Mavericks do with the #1 overall pick?
I went back and forth the last couple times with this, since yesterday. Originally, I said if they can get a Giannis and some other stuff with it, it might make sense. But then I started thinking about the age difference and the replacement value, right? So if you get Cooper Flagg, you essentially could sell that hope of here's our new Luka. He just happens to be an American Luka. That's kind of what I'm selling that. If I'm Nico, I'm really selling it.
What's an American Luka?
Well, white dude that got the perimeter offensive game that can do some stuff. That's what, so we could sell that in Texas and Dallas. We could sell it. And Nico should feel extremely good right now about the situation. He should just feel good about it. Unless you can get a guy like Giannis, but Giannis is only going to give you another 5 to 6 years of a Giannis, where now you got Cooper might give you, 13 years. So it's all about what do you think the value is for that #1 overall pick?
What do you think, Paul?
Man, I struggle with this right now because think about this. When they traded Luka to the Lakers to get Anthony Davis, they were still in a win-now mode.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But if you add him.
So if you're in a win-now mode, it may be best to trade the pick if you can cop somebody like Giannis. Because that shows me like, you looked at this trade and say, maybe the window with Kyrie and he get healthy. Well, what we got, the window was four years maybe?
I'd call it 5.
Let's call it a presidential term.
Yeah, 4.
4 years is a good window. You get Giannis in a win-now mode. While, like, if you're picking Cooper Flagg, you got like, okay, he's going to be a good player, but this might take some time, 3 or 4 years.
Remember, though, he cooked the Olympic team in the little scrimmage deal.
Yeah, but is he ready to be the guy? Who's the guy for Dallas?
It would be Anthony Davis.
But if you add Giannis with Anthony Davis, and now you say, Davis, you didn't want to be the guy with LeBron. So we're going to slot you in that #2 slot where you're comfortable with, and we're going to put Giannis as our go-to. With Kyrie out there, that makes the most sense when I really look at the big picture. But at the same time, Nico's been through a lot with the fan base and the media.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can take any more scrutiny.
If he moved that pick and it don't work out,
oh, my goodness. I wouldn't want to be him. Just saying. So I think of it like now and later, I'm Nico, though. No, we're going to stay pick.
Is he, Joy,
stay put with the pick.
Joy, is he up against Luka and the Lakers of who's going to get to a championship first? That should be his thought process, right? Who's going to get to the championship first? If I stick with him that I draft you number one overall, am I going to beat Luka to the championship?
No, you're not. You're not. Look at the number one overall picks just from the last 10 years.
But this dude just seems different, though. He do.
Don't all the number one overall picks seem different?
Not really.
You think Cooper Flag is ready to come in right now and take a team to a championship in the next 4 years?
But he's not by himself, though. That's the thing.
No, this is definitely a different, unique situation.
Yeah.
This is equivalent to like when Magic and Bird came in.
When you start thinking about the number one overall picks and you got guys in there like DeAndre Ayton, that's going to screw you up a little bit with that. You know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't supposed to be the number one overall pick. There's other guys that probably could have gone before him.
No other number one pick is coming into a situation where you have a bona fide all-star MVP candidate.
Hall of Famer,
and another bona fide all-star.
Yeah.
No number one.
And you still got them young dudes that they traded for a year ago. Mm-hmm. That's the I don't know. It's going to be interesting. He got a lot to think about.
I think that they're going to draft Cooper Flag. I think I agree with you. I don't think you can risk trading it and bringing in Giannis and God forbid something happens.
And that Giannis thing, no, that's like that's a good meal for him if he just.
I mean, it's tempting for sure. Now, if everything hadn't gone as poorly as it did with the Luka trade publicly, I think they might consider going for Giannis, because I think if you bring Giannis into the situation right now, where you are a league MVP, you're a champion, and you put him into what they have going on in Dallas, that's a different conversation.
So you think they'll do you think they'll be pushed back and mad at him for bringing in a two-time MVP, NBA champion with about, I don't know, man, the NBA guys play long, but another 6 years of what we see right now?
It's like, are you going for that, or are you going for hope? What sells?
But you're gonna have both, though. I can sell you hope with Giannis. I can literally sell you hope with Giannis. I can still sell you hope with Giannis.
I mean, I would go for Giannis. I would.
Yeah.
Because when I'm looking at and I understand the longevity, but you're looking back, like you got Karl Anthony Towns, number one overall pick. You've got Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz, DeAndre Ayton, Zion Williamson. Mm-hmm. Now we got Anthony Edwards. Okay.
Yeah.
Cade Cunningham, Paolo Banchero.
Okay, those are all good.
Wemby.
Those are all good.
Yeah, but none of them are playing for a championship.
Well,
except for Karl Anthony Towns, and Karl Anthony Towns is not the number one on his team.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Nor is he playing for the team that drafted him.
But them dudes that you started naming at the back end right there, pretty damn good.
Are you going for pretty damn good, or are you trying to win a championship?
But I'm putting them with a guy like Paul was saying, and possibly with a guy in Kyrie once he comes back off his injury.
I'm saying what I personally would do. I'm going for the two-time league MVP and a guy who's won a championship.
That's probably what I would do, too.
That's what I'm going to do.
That's probably what I would do. I'll stick with
what they're going to do is draft Cooper Flag.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to do.
Yeah. I mean, it makes more sense as far as when you look at the timeline, when you look at the age of Anthony Davis, when you look at the age of Kyrie.
Right.
They can't wait for Cooper Flag. If we're saying
exactly
we're trying to compete for a
when
championship.
Cooper Flag is ready to compete for a championship,
they're going to be
gone.
So what will get Nico's seat from burning hot? What will do that?
Drafting Cooper Flag is the safe bet.
See, but I don't think that. I think trading for Giannis will get people off his back, because that I can sell hope we're going to get a championship. I can put him on Anthony Davis. We get Kyrie back. We got Lively. I could where everybody's big across the board.
You have more longevity.
But I don't care. I need to win right now. I need to win right now.
Like Nico, I'm like, listen, I know I ain't going to have this job for the next 10 years.
I need to win right now.
I need to get it right now.
People want to throw rocks at my window. I need to win right now.
He's having a good day today. He's having the best day of anyone on the planet today.
You said people throwing rocks at my window.
Let's get back to the NBA playoffs. Warriors lost Game 4 last night. to fall into the 3-1 hole that's only 4.4% of teams have made it back from. Playoff Jimmy only put up 9 shots after scoring 33 in Golden State's Game 3 loss. So, Paul, how disappointed are you in Playoff Jimmy, or are you disappointed in Playoff Jimmy?
It's like 50-50 because I know Jimmy is getting up there in age and, and he's at a new team midway throughout, and I've seen flashes here and there. He has yet to be really consistently playoff Jimmy throughout these playoffs. We see it here and there, and then there's, times when he takes a back seat. We've seen Kuminga explode. We've seen Steph explode before he went down with the injury. But I did expect a little bit more in this last game, being that this was a game that was going to, be like a do-or-die situation. I just didn't see the aggression that I needed from a guy like Jimmy Butler to, help his team, to elevate his team like we've saw in the past, because we've been used to seeing that in his Miami days. But there's just not enough out there for him. I mean, you got Kuminga, since he's been playing, being your second best player, and the weapons are different that he had in Miami than he has here in Golden State, minus Steph. He had Bam Adebayo, who was an all-star. You had Tyler Hero, who was pretty good. Kyle Lowry. And so with this supporting cast, it doesn't help him. It's like, and what I mean by nobody's drawing any attention away from Jimmy. So that's why probably the lack of shots or the inability to get to the paint and finish without, the help being smothered. And so it's just an uphill climb for Jimmy at this point, being down 3-1 in a difficult situation. But I do expect him to have a bounce-back game in Game 5, because he knows that if he doesn't, they'll be going home.
I'm like Paul, I'm 50-50 on this situation. I'm not down on him. I'm just not understanding why the lack of shooting. I mean, I look at last night's game. We talked about the game before that Draymond needed to give him a little bit more help. Draymond gave him a little more help. He scored 14 points. He was a little more for Draymond. He was aggressive for Draymond offensively. And I just didn't understand. And I know what Paul is saying when they are crowding him or collapsing on him. But even before they were crowding him or collapsing on him, he's right underneath the rim. He's right there. Like, shoot the damn ball. But he was passing it out or get to his spot and wouldn't pull up at the elbow, would just kick back out. And I don't know. I'm like, well, I'm sitting there watching the game, Joy and Paul, and I'm trying to, in my mind, understand why is he playing this way? What's the reason? When you know that you're now Batman because the original Batman is sidelined and you're now Batman taking the place of him, but you're not being aggressive like you were, let's say, in Game 1, like you were in the first series against Houston. Like you just, I don't have an answer for why he wasn't shooting the basketball.
But I'm not going to put this on Jimmy. He's been there 3 months. He's had his playoff moments. And you mentioned Game 3 at 33 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. They just squandered him and Kuminga's big game because Draymond only had 2 points in that game. Like, that was the game that you should have won. Right. That was playoff Jimmy. But there's not really, this hasn't been his team. In Miami, he was the guy. Right. So he's come here. He's only been there a few months. We know it takes time to adjust to a new system. We're expecting this to just roll over because we've seen the performances that he's had in Miami. But Miami was a different dynamic. Mm-hmm. He was always the guy.
But why did he
Miami.
do it the game before?
Well, I think he has the capability of doing it. But when you're talking about consistency, I think that can play a part. And then the dynamic of switching from it being all about Steph to being all about you. And then there's a lot going on here. So I can't just put it on Jimmy. I mean, it's disappointing, obviously, because you lost Steph. It looked like this was going to be a really long series and a really more competitive series, and now they're in a 3-1 hole. But we'll see if they can extend it to a longer series. Coming up, we've got more NFL to talk about. We'll tell you which two new international locations will host games in 2025. That's next on Speak.
Impact confirmed. The Slayer has been activated.
Demonic threat level increasing.
Hold the line!
All the power of hell cowering before one man.
id Software presents Doom: The Dark Ages. Available May 15th on Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and PC. Pre-order now.
Rated M for mature.
Time to speak up, sponsored by Hilton Garden Inn. Hilton for the stay. Despite Dak Prescott missing the second half of last season with a hamstring injury, Cowboys chief operating officer Stephen Jones has high expectations for Dak to bounce back this season. Speak up, Stephen.
Starting to add the weapons. Dak traditionally, historically, not traditionally, has come back after an injury or a tough season and followed it up with a great year. I know a couple of years ago he came off an injury and a tough year, and he followed it up with an MVP type of season. Fully expect that again.
Key, do you expect an MVP type of season from Dak?
I do. I'm kind of in line with Stephen Jones right there when he talked about following a bad season up or an injured season with a good season, MVP type season. As long as Dak Prescott is healthy from beginning to end, they got a fighting chance. They went out and got some help with George Pickens at the receiver position to help CeeDee Lamb out, which is amazingly huge for them. They drafted an offensive lineman. They drafted a couple running backs. So when I look at it, I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be fine. I really do.
Cool.
Yeah, I think they'll be cool.
Paul, do you expect an MVP level season from Dak?
I'm not sure if I'm thinking MVP level coming off a season.
But he's kind of always been he's always played in that area of the MVP.
So, I mean, but MVP
numbers-wise?
Yeah, like you mean numbers are how they finish the season.
Yeah.
I mean him personally. For the most part, since he's been
you're not getting it. You're not winning MVP if you're not in the playoffs.
No, I'm saying since he's been in the league as a starting quarterback when healthy, he's always played in the MVP era.
But
arena. May have only had the M, not the V and the P, or may only got the M and the V, but not the P.
What they want.
Washington wasn't good.
I understand.
The Giants didn't really have a quarterback.
I understand. I get it. They still don't have a quarterback, but I get it.
I mean, they got better than they've had.
Jackson Dart they drafted, and they got Russell and Jameis. I understand. I get it. You asked a question. I'm trying to answer it as honestly as I can.
Okay.
Is that okay with you, Your Honor?
Paul, what do you think?
Originally, I was like, yes, he's going to have to, but I don't think that the Dallas Cowboys are going to be competing for a playoff spot in order to be mentioned in playoff talks. I mean, we just saw Joe Burrow have a sensational season. He was in the MVP talks, but they didn't make the playoffs. I'm not sure Dak is going to have the Cowboys like that. You know what I'm saying? Being in there in one of the toughest divisions. And he's coming off an injury, a year older. I think it's going to take him some time to get back in the mix, get used to playing with George Pickens, get back used to, dealing with CeeDee Lamb. You know how their rapport is with one another. They're going to have to get used to being, just on the same page. So, I think he'll be good. But when we talk about MVP level, it's only about 5 quarterbacks I'm thinking going to be on MVP level. And I don't know if Dak going to be in that conversation like he was a couple of years ago, because that means the Dallas Cowboys was winning 11-12. They was 12-5 the year he finished second in the MVP voting. I don't see the Dallas Cowboys winning that many games this year, but I hope he bounces back. I'm not one to say, hey, they don't want to do well. They got weapons for him. I want him to bounce back and just look somewhat close to what he was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys are firmly in third place in that division, pending some sort of catastrophic injury. So I can't catapult him to an MVP level season. I think he's going to have good numbers. He usually does. He's a very consistent quarterback. But I think the division is harder than it's been in years past. And you have a new head coach. And I don't know if he can coach. Nobody knows.
So you didn't ask me that.
What do you mean?
You asked me about Dak.
You
asked me about Dak. You didn't say Kishadi coach. You said Dak.
What do you mean?
If you'd have said to me, hey, Keith, what you think about...
It's all included.
What do you think about Schottenheimer being the head coach? I would have answered it differently.
No, this is an all-included question. All these things...
I take that all into account.
I'll take it into account now. The fact of the matter is, I believe George Pickens significantly helps the offense.
I think it does, too.
Significantly. Therefore...
But can they stop the run?
I'm not talking about the defense.
But in order for Dak to have an MVP-level season, it's not just about him putting up numbers. They have to be in the playoffs. You're not winning you're not even really getting into the MVP conversation unless you are a certified playoff team.
If they can score on the offensive side of the ball, and the defense could just keep it close enough.
You're saying if a lot.
What the hell you want me to say? I mean, like,
do you expect Josh Allen to have an MVP level season?
Yes.
Do you expect Lamar Jackson to have a MVP level season?
Yes.
Yes. Do you expect Jalen Hurts to have an MVP level season?
Absolutely.
Jaden Daniels?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Joe Burrow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. There go my five.
Okay,
right
but you keep saying if after if the thing.
I expect many quarterbacks with weapons around them to play at an MVP level.
You see how quick he said yes on the other ones?
Yeah.
You didn't say Dak.
Do you expect
Yes,
that?
I do. Because he has what all those guys have, multiple weapons. I told you before, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb. Mm-hmm. Plus or minus, however you want it. You want 1A, 1B, 2 and 3, whatever you want to call it. T. Higgins, George Pickens. That's the same to me.
Yeah, but you remember, Joe Burrow was really only in the MVP conversation
at the back
because
end.
He was putting up obscene numbers
on the back
end of the thing.
Yeah,
and it was really
absolutely.
like trying to get him in the conversation because they weren't going to make the playoffs. And there was no way he was going to do that.
I'm not going to say Dallas ain't going to make the playoffs yet. Not yet. I know it's a tough division and everything, but when they went out there and got this George Pickens, I'm telling you, if George Pickens you read the numbers off to me yesterday, he was short of 1,000 yards.
I think he's going to contribute
he's gonna help
tremendously. I still want to see if they're able to stop the run.
I understand.
Coming up, could falling into the fifth round be the best thing for Shedeur's career? That's next on Speak.
Parents of tweens, if you're familiar with far-off drop-offs...
Dad, stop, right here.
Or get DMs about what's for dinner, you may be experiencing tween milestones. For your son or daughter, these can start at age 9. HPV vaccination, a type of cancer prevention against certain HPV-related cancers, can start then too.
For most, HPV clears on its own. But for those who don't clear the virus, it can cause certain cancers later in life.
Embrace this phase. Help protect them in the next.
Ask their doctor today about HPV vaccination. Brought to you by Merck.
Time to check in on our social life. Something about this Chiefs social media post feels familiar. KC posted the walking distance from Arrowhead Stadium to the home field of their opponents. So is everyone getting inspired by Paul's walk? T?
Probably. That's the first thing I said. I said they poking fun at Paul on the low.
You know what? You're starting a trend, Paul.
On the low.
Everywhere I go,
You're
people ask me,
influential.
did I really do it? Of course I did. Come on now. Everywhere I was in the gym this morning. How did you do it? Like, dude, don't you see me on the Stairmaster? Don't you see me go hiking? Don't you see me do these squats?
Have you took a look at his forces?
Man.
After, you would know, which is still an insane choice of footwear for that.
That's my favorite
shit.
Man. And then I saw the dirty Air Force Ones on my phone. They showed, they popped up.
I told you.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I was
had
like,
the new ones.
well, wait, I'm like,
the new old ones.
Really paying for this? Just go buy some new ones and roll around in the mud or something.
That's what they do. Shedeur Sanders' NFL career is underway in Cleveland. Shedeur is at Browns practice and working with Browns OC Tommy Rees. The team mic'd up Rees over the weekend and took a page out of Key's book when coaching up Shedeur. Let's take a listen.
Hey, we're going to do a lot of work when we climb up. Is keeping this thing on that now. These now that are going to be tackling you, it's a different world, you feel me? It's a different world. You see Myles Garrett walking around with his shirt off? We got to have that ready to roll. You know I'm mic'd up. I hope that makes it. So right away, we're not just going here. Our eyes are still here, and now we're reading that, and now we're coming back. Perfect. That's exactly what I'm talking about. On that last rep, let me see your eyes. Yeah, there they are. Now there's the high-low on rhythm. Perfect.
I get fired up. I'm like a coach. I get excited when I see stuff like that because he's doing everything right.
He told him, those guys with the beards and the...
Oh, he letting him know. Myles Garrett look crazy with his shirt off, man. Look like somebody... Dude just look crazy, man. Big old, man.
Looking like Lou Ferrigno, huh?
Lou somebody.
So proud of you, Paul. Will the draft slide be the best thing for Shedeur's career, Key?
I think so. One, you're not getting rushed. If you become the number 1 overall pick or a first rounder, the expectations is so big to come in and play right away, right? In this situation, I think he's going to play early. May not be week 1, but I think he will take a lot of snaps this year as the starting quarterback eventually. But it just allows him to really understand the whole NFL process. And as I said before, you can see that they are working to get him ready to start to compete, coaching him up one-on-one. Now, obviously, that's a clip in rookie ball and in whatever the case may be, but there's something there about a coach taking his own personal time to teach you up and coach you up. I've seen guys drafted in the 5th round. Mm-hmm. They don't even talk to you. No, seriously, they won't even talk to them dudes. They just look at them and call them by their numbers and, hey, 58, come over here. That's the reality of it, though. I'm just, you laughing, but I'm just.
He's a quarterback.
No, okay. Number 13, come over here. Because he ain't the quarterback, ain't even going to get a shot going in the 5th round. But you can tell that they're taking a personal interest in Shedeur, along with his teammates and the fan base. And no matter what anybody says, as I tried to tell Dave yesterday, they're going to look at him and say, we like what we see. And it was so crazy because his dad, Dion, posted something about what he saw in his son throwing the football. And just like I seen the clip, I'm like, look, that's what you want to see. A dude climb the pocket. He dropped a dime right there. That's a dime. That's a legit dime, a handoff. They ain't had that since Johnny Manziel early on or something. Not Johnny Manziel, Baker Mayfield, my bad. Baker Mayfield, same thing to me. Same thing to me in Cleveland. But Baker Mayfield, they hadn't had that dime drop since Baker Mayfield, Joy. That gets receivers excited. They want to win for you. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, anyway.
Paul, you think it'll be the best thing that he slid?
Yeah, I have to believe it will be. You got to understand, like, Shedeur has been given everything he's wanted. Everything, since his dad is one of the most famous football players, greatest corner ever to live, he's had everything go his way.
Absolutely.
For the most part. Well, his whole life.
As he should.
Started over here, played all the time. Daddy was the coach. This is the first time in his life nothing was given to him. That's got to be motivation. That's got to be. Something was took from me. Like, when I got drafted, and like I always bring this story up now, I was projected to go number 1 or 2. I went 10. I was pissed. He was projected to go between 2 and 21 or even the first round. He went 5th round. Man, I don't want to talk to nobody. All I want to do is get to camp in the best shape as possible, lock in, and go out here and try to prove everybody wrong. Because, since it didn't go his way this time, he's like, look, I got something he got something to reprove now.
Yeah. Coming up, the Pacers are 1 game away from the Eastern Conference Finals. We'll tell you if Halliburton and company can finish off the Cavs tonight. That's next on Speed.
Should have worked harder, Paul.
Should have worked harder. That wasn't it. It was hating.
You probably should have worked a little.
Vacations will never be the same. Welcome to the theme parks of Universal Orlando Resort. With spectacular hotels and more, Universal Orlando offers an entire week of vacation awesome. Visit universalorlando.com.
Before we go, let's look ahead to tonight's games. The Cavs are on the brink of elimination tonight, but we'll have Donovan Mitchell in the lineup. So, Paul, do the Pacers end the Cavs season tonight in Cleveland?
Yeah, I believe they do. I think the momentum is completely shifted. I think the Pacers end it tonight.
Keith?
What'd you do, Paul? Cleveland! It's not for you. No, I got the Pacers for facts.
I'm also going with the Pacers. The late game is Nuggets and Thunder in OKC. That series is tied at 2. So, Key, which team takes a 3-2 lead tonight, Nuggets or Thunder?
OKC. I think they're going to handle their business.
I'm also going with the Thunder. Who do you got, Key? Paul.
I got Denver. I think Joker's going to have one of those MVP-ish games.
We're going to make it a long, long series.
Oh, yeah.
That is it for us. We'll see you right back here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for joining us today.